salvation is not guaranteed. It's not a given just because we're in the house and we've been filled with the Spirit of the living God. It's not a guarantee. But like Paul, we've got to make up in our minds that I'm not going to take this walk for granted. I'm not going to think that it's all in the bag and it's all settled. But every day I'm going to press. Every day I'm going to press, because every day there's going to be, there's a potential for a new obstacle in my way, but still I'm going to press. Every day there's going to be an opportunity for even maybe a brother and sister to say all manner of things about me, but yet I'm going to press. Every day there's an opportunity that some trials and situations will come to try and distract me, but still I'm going to press. I'm not going to take for granted just because I'm in the church, just because I'm here, just because I have the Spirit of God within me. I can't take it for granted that that's the end of the story, that I can sit back and just wait until Christ comes. But every day I'm going to press, because every day there's an opportunity for me to fall. Every day there's a trap that the enemy has set, that he is ready just to swallow and devour me. But every day I'm going to press, because every day I press, the Lord will give me strength to make it through. Every day that I make up in my mind that I'm going to live for Him, He's going to be my defense. And every day that I make up in my mind that this day I will serve the Lord will make a way, that even though there's a trial, even though there's a situation, the Lord will make a way that I can walk through, and not just walk through, but in my walking, my life can be a testimony for someone, because we don't know who's on the sidelines, who's watching, who's seeing our lives. We don't know who's around us and who's taking note of what we're doing. But every day, that not to be our focus, because it's not just about the people who are watching, but it's about Christ. It's about keeping our mind fixed on Christ. For if we have our mind fixed on Christ like Paul did, then it won't matter. All those things will fall into place, because if our mind is stayed on Christ, and no matter what situation comes our way, we'll be able to make it. No matter what trial comes our way, we'll be able to make it. No matter what the enemy tries to put in front of us, we'll be able to make it. No matter what our mind tries to say and say, oh, you can't do that, oh, you can only go so far, we'll be able to make it. No matter what this flesh desires to do, either the ways of the flesh desires to take over and to take control of our lives, when we keep our minds stayed on Christ, we'll be able to make it. And as we're making it, as we're pushing forward, as we're pushing that one towards that mark, and that for what Christ has done for us, as we're pushing and pushing, there will be others who see it and say, you know what? If she can make it in that trial, I can make it too. If she can continue despite the trials and the losses experienced in her life, I can make it too. If that brother can persevere and can make it and can have his mind fixed on Christ with all the things that are surrounding him in this world, then I can make it too. Church, it's time for us to make up our mind that we're going to make it no matter what. This is not given to us. And this race is not for the swift or the strong, but to him that endureth to the end.
Praise the Lord.
But if we're going to endure to the end, then we need to have a change of mind.
Yeah.
We need to make up in our mind that we are going to make it. For if our mind is focused on the fact that we are going to make it, then we will make it. Despite any trials or situations that come our way, we will make it. But if we allow our minds to be subject to the tricks of the enemy, if we allow the distractions that come and say, oh, well, it's not necessary. Oh, well, you know, you're all right. You can just come this far, and once you have the Spirit, you're good, you can rest. And if we allow our mind to be subject to the tricks of the enemy or the ways of this world, then we won't make it. But our mind must be fixed on Christ.
Yes.
For it is with the mind that we serve Christ. It is with the mind that we make the decision that we are going to live this life for Christ. Now, back in the 80s or in the early 90s, there was a saying, the power of positive thinking. And the theory behind this was that if you think something and you believe it, it'll happen. Now, there's some merit to this, because if you believe something, if you earnestly have faith that something is going to happen, then you are going to do what you need to do to be able to be a recipient. Like, for instance, if you believed that you were going to be able to run 5 miles tomorrow, maybe that's a bad example, but if you believe that you were going to be able to run a marathon in a little while, in a couple months, if you believe that you were able to do that, then you start training. You start doing what you have to do in order to make that a reality. You start preparing and changing your diet and start running shorter distances so that you can work your way up to this great feat. If you believe that it was completely possible and that you were going to do it, you would start making preparations to be able to do it. But if you don't believe, then you're not going to do anything about it. If you don't believe that it's even possible for you to even think about running a marathon or anything over a mile, then you're not even going to try, you're not even going to start. You're not even going to make the effort. But if you've made up in your mind that something is possible, then you'll start to put measures in place to make sure it happens. If we believe that we are able to make it, then we will put measures in place and do whatever we need to do to make sure that we make it. If we believe, like Paul, that we are able to make it, then we, like he did, he said he counted everything else as dung, that he may win Christ. Because he knew that even though he had all this knowledge, all this training that he received as a Pharisee, he knew that it meant nothing. In this walk with Christ, that meant nothing. And so everything that ever meant anything to him before he met Christ, he let it all go. He cast it all aside because he knew that he was determined to make it. Church, we have to make up in our minds. For too long, the enemy has tried to convince us that, oh, well, it's too hard for you to walk this walk. God requires too much. You can't do it. That's only for the super spiritual to be able to, fast and to pray 3 times a day or whatever the case may be. The devil has, the devil is no fool. The devil really is no fool. He comes with all manner of tricks and subtleties to convince us in our minds that we're not able to walk this walk. Well, I'm here to tell you this morning, I'm here to reaffirm with Paul this morning that we are able to make it. For if our mind is fixed on Christ, he will give us the strength to do what it is that we must do to overcome. If our mind is fixed on Christ as it ought to be, then we have the power to overcome. We have the power, for when we are weak, that's when we're strong, not through ourselves, but through Christ. But the decision lies with us this morning. The decision lies with us if we are going to allow our mind to control what we do, or if we are going to take control of our mind. For he who has control of the mind controls the man. And whatever we set our minds to do, that which we do. If we set our minds to get up and pray and to seek God's face on the regular, then that's exactly what we do. If we set our minds to get into the Word and to read it and to study it and to understand it according to what God has, according to His Spirit, then that's exactly what we do. If we set our minds to press and to live this life as how He desires us to live it, then that's exactly what we'll do. But if we are just content to stay in the place where we are, then we won't go any further. But the decision is ours this morning. The decision is up to us, whether we want to continue to do things our ways, continue to do things we've always done them, or if we're going to make up our mind to follow Christ and be obedient towards that. Church, the Lord has given us the answer that we need. So often times we ask, well, what do I need to do to get past this place? What do I need to do to get deeper in you? We need to get control of our mind and set our minds to serving Christ.